Hey. How you guys all doing? It is March 19th, 9 a.m. Pacific. If you are just joining us, then please like and subscribe. Share this with your communities. Let everyone know that we are live. Packet is live. Caleb, Josh, thanks for being with us this morning. How you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Living the dream.
There we go. Well, some exciting news on the crypto front today. Just heard that the XRP lawsuit was finally dropped. Well, long-awaited lawsuit was finally dropped. And we also saw a pretty significant pump in Ethereum last night. I think it's up over
14%
on Ethereum.
14%. Yeah, in last 24 hours.
Wow, that's pretty remarkable. Yeah, I saw it right before the end of the day yesterday.
Or no, I'm sorry. Actually, 8%. XRP's up 14%.
There you go. Yeah, so markets are moving. Today's the FOMC meeting, so I think people are awaiting feedback there, and usually we'll see some price movement there. So obviously that benefits PKT as well, being a base token and having relationship directly with the price of Ethereum. So things are moving. That's always good. But yeah, so we're making some progress there on the crypto front. Caleb, how are things going in your world?
Well, I just in staging beta in the beta version of the platform fixed the issue that everybody has complained about for ages now with yield credits, changing the amount of yield credits assigned to a device and it doesn't register. So or doesn't register right away. So that seems to be fixed. And I also set up I used the Packet DNS for an email server for the first time. There was a couple small issues I needed to fix with the name servers to get that working correctly, but it is now working. So there is a Packet domain that is able to send email now. And
Wow.
that was for a wiki I set up for another project.
That's very cool. Yeah, we heard a couple people talking about email, and obviously you need to have your own email server to do it, but that's a great tool. It just gives people the ability to have a private email server and run an email client without having to pay Google for the rest of your life.
Well, I think you can also configure Google with your own domain, and so they just give you a bunch of DNS records that you have to insert.
Sure.
And that will work as well. You put an MX record, you set it up, and you have your email working, even if it's with Google.
Right. Well, meaning you can use your Packet domain as your email. As your email URL. So that's
even with Google
address. Yeah, even with Google, which is cool. I was just saying, like, the other side of this is obviously we end up on these centralized services and just have to pay for them. I think Google just keeps raising the price. I think it's gone up to at least $12, might even be more now, for per month per email address.
Wow, I don't know why companies pay Google. I run Mail Cow, which I hate administering. I hate managing things. So I like things that you just forget about them and they just sit there and run, like Packet Chat. You just forget about it. It just sits there. It works for 4 years. And Mail Cow has treated me very well. I just installed it, and it actually runs on a computer at the house. Just install it and basically forget about it. And all of my CJDNS and also I think Packet Cache, I think there's an email associated with that the notifications for the packet chat, all of those emails are all through that mail server, and of course this new one is through that mail server too. So I mean, if you're running a company and you have a tech team, I don't. Well, yeah, I don't really see why companies buy Google, except that maybe the boss doesn't want their system administrator reading their private emails. That might be
I think,
it.
yeah, yeah. There's some the Google backend is obviously pretty robust, and there's some features there that I guess are compelling, especially if you're running them through for a business and what have you. But yeah, it's great just to see continued decentralization in terms of these packet domains and packet DNS and additional ways that it can be used. There's a domain that somebody contributed, which is pkt.email. So technically you could get your name.pkt email or yeah, or at, I should say. But
somebody registered email.pkt, because then you could have email.pkt.email.
yeah, email.pkt. There you go. And so there would be and then you could be CJD at email.pkt.email, basically. Yeah. I don't know if anyone ever got that one, but packet domains are currently, I was just checking yesterday, 1,000 packet to set up a domain. I mean, you're talking about basically a couple pennies here to get a domain for life. So it's pretty good time to do some staking and pick up your domains. And there's just a bunch of things you can do with them. And we're starting to see some growth in terms of more websites popping up, but we should be seeing a lot more. And if you haven't bumped around and setting up a website yet, you should definitely get after it. On YouTube, there's a video showing you how to set it up using Canva. It's incredibly easy using Canva. And if you want to do it without Canva, there's some tools to do that as well. So you should be seeing some more websites beginning to pop up.
It's really convenient to set up with these domains. I mean, if you happen to have Packet, which, I mean, if you're listening to this live stream, you probably do, then it's just like you could either go through the rigmarole of buying a domain and then paying for that for the rest of your life. For a project you probably don't want to pay for a domain for the rest of your life for, or you can just go to the dashboard. You're already logged in with your wallet. I mean, even just adding a subdomain to an existing domain on Namecheap, it's a pain. You gotta log in, password, username, and then they always want the two-factor authentication. And you just go to the dashboard. It's like, you connect wallet and click on packet DNS, and create a domain, or you use that what is it? Not dump stake, but domain stake or whatever.
Domain stake, yeah.
Site.
Dump domains, I think.
What did I call
domain
it?
Dump. I think domain dump is what you call
domain.
it.
Stake domain is what it's called on here. Yeah.
It's actually really interesting, the technology itself, because I just actually got off a call this morning with a person I met at a conference I think a year ago. Anyways, they have some really cool tech. A lot of the stuff's very aligned with what we've been doing with building the network, and they built a lot of stuff. They have a browser, and they have hosting, and they're wanting to create a domain system, and you can send money to the domain, but you need to have their browser to be able to access the domain. And just the fact that you don't need to have special software or a special browser or a special plugin to be able to access these domains is really cool, and something that everybody's trying to kind of figure out how to do, but very few projects have cracked the code on how to do it. A lot of them are just, creating their own browser extension or creating their own browser completely. even if their browser is cool, you're not going to get the 99% of the world that's going to go download the browser. So 99% of the world's not going to have access to those sites. So, you know, you can pat yourself on the back, Caleb, on what we've created here, because it solves a lot of problems, and it's definitely something that most people that are even trying to, you know, get into this space or have not figured out how to do.
Well, I had about a decade to think about it. You know? So it's like you wake up in the morning and say, yeah, why don't we do it this way? But that wake up in the morning is from a decade of sitting on the toilet going, well, I wonder how it solved this problem.
Yeah, well, hopefully they were good bowel movements, because they led to some pretty cool tech.
Yeah, well,
some good shit.
It's been good. It's definitely some good shit there. Yeah, it's definitely been, you know, good to see the, you know, the evolution here for sure, and it'd be great to see more and more people using it. Obviously, getting more and more people using it is going to be predicated on getting the marketing out there, getting the message out there, and just being able to promote this thing. And it's been a heck of a little doldrum over the last month. You know, it's probably been the slowest month in the history of Packet. You know, obviously the market's just been crushed. I think there's a lot of deflation, just of spirit, you know, going, you know, just seeing the market, you know, return to a bear market. You know, the pump that we saw around the election has been completely erased, and then some. And yeah, just, I mean, Ethereum down 50% from the high, you know, early, or I guess that was the December high. But yeah, it's just been
even with an 8% pump, it's still down 50%.
Yeah, even with the 8% pump, and you know, it's been tough to kind of just keep driving. But what I will say about Packet is, you know, while PKT, so, you know, PKT itself on the cryptocurrency side has been just enjoying, you know, maintenance, I guess you would say, and some of the stuff that you were just working on, Caleb. It's really nice to hear, because the community is still tapping in on their dashboards and doing what they need to do to stake to earn, continuing to optimize. I've seen and heard the community restaking domain, you know, both domain nodes, but particularly CJDNS nodes, you know, based on the additional amount of packet that you can stake during this time per node, just based on the price being so low. And we've kind of made it through the second airdrop now, where, you know, the people that were going to sell sold, and did pretty good for themselves, just because it was a lot of selling that occurred right before the market capitulated. So would have been able to take a nice liquidity opportunity there. But now that the market is so low, it's actually a great buying opportunity. So this is really where you would want to load back up and get almost 3 million packet for $1,000 right now, which is the lowest it's ever been in the history of the project. But on a brighter note, you know, the work that Josh and I have been doing in particular around Packet TV is really becoming a beacon for where I believe that this project's going to go. And as we bring in capital specifically to make Packet TV possible, it's going to have a direct benefit to the Packet community for a couple reasons. You know, one of those reasons being the use of the Packet Hub and the use of Packet domains as a centerfold for Packet TV, and encouraging content creators, rights holders, you know, around the world to get your Packet domain and be able to have this ability to go direct to audience. And all of that direct to audience is using Packet domains, using the Packet Hub, using the Creator Hub as a tool. And so I'm really excited to see where that goes, and the marketing and messaging around getting people to take those actions is, you know, going to be powered through Packet TV, which has as I said, just a direct benefit to awareness and utility around PKT. So I expect that, in the coming period here, we'll start to see movement there. And what will be cool is a lot of that movement initially is going to be people completely outside of the crypto community. It's going to be people who are really within the entertainment media space looking to make use of these tools for their own personal and professional uses. And then that will have a direct effect on both the utility of the packet currency as well as adoption of these platforms. So that's, even though it feels probably from a community standpoint, it's like you're looking at the price, you're like, do something. We know that if we had 1 million people signing up for packet domains, that would be a boon to the packet price, because people would be buying packet, staking packet, and even if they have no idea that there's a cryptocurrency behind these web URLs, we know that will have a direct effect on the market just by virtue of people buying and staking. So what are your thoughts on that, Josh? What have you been kind of, from your vantage point, looking in and seeing the direction and the responses that we've been getting on Packet TV and how that relates to the Packet project and Packet price?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been running around the world for 6 years pitching Packet to people. I've gone to 29 countries. I've stood on stages. I've done a lot of pitching of what we're doing here at Packet. I've talked to thousands of people, and never in the history of Packet has anybody understood what we're doing with Packet as well as they do now. It's never been as clear of a story of why we're doing it, of why people would give a shit. And to have this many people that are at extremely high levels say, like, yeah, I want to be a part of that. And to be having the level of conversations we've been having, especially over the last 2 weeks, it's just been really refreshing, especially now that we're kind of getting into our stride of our pitch and the way we can explain it. And since, the Packet network does so many things, being able to save ourselves from, the pitch where it says it does this and it does this and it does this and it does this, and then they don't understand what it's doing. But that's from like the Packet TV side of things, the user facing applications, the Creator Hub and the Packet Hub, and where the two kind of stories converge is when the Creator Hub really starts taking off, and we're trying to set up some really cool stuff to entice creators to start kind of claiming their domain, putting up their shingle, starting to promote their projects and kind of create a groundswell. I had a call yesterday with, I don't want to say their name, but they're connected with some major Grammy Award winning masters, huge network. They're excited about what we're doing to be able to bring value to the music business through the entertainment business, meeting with writers who are, just went on an Oscar campaign. We had a meeting yesterday about that. I mean, just having people at that level that are just like, wow, I want to be a part of what you guys are doing. That's just been super rewarding after so much hard work. And you'd look at the token price and you wouldn't see that reflection, but I feel super confident after these conversations and what the value that these different people are going to bring to this project, that that will be a short-lived price.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, it's just interesting to see how important momentum is in this marketplace. And there were definitely times in the Packet project's history where it just where there were lulls. But one of the things that we always had this momentum in terms of where we believed that the project could go, and there was always this like continued development of tools and features that existed over all those years and all that history of the project. It never had the ease of use that it has today, and it's unfortunate that a lot of that ease of use emerged right around the time where um, there's just been a lot of distraction around just meme tokens, pretty much just that whole world of memes, and these short-lived pump and dump kind of schemes is what you've mostly seen in the market. People are just jumping in looking for a quick return. And then this disparity between like these big, the dino coins, if you will, the projects that are from way back, but were extremely well capitalized, early on, and have extremely high market caps, billion to multi-billion-dollar market caps. So they've had the ability to maintain their runway and community growth. Packet never really had a strong community core that was, of where the community really, ran the community, if you will, outside of, a couple of the social media platforms. But there weren't a lot of people building on Packet in the early days, and building tools, building features, building things that can help benefit the project, other than kind of, you could say, like the core team. And now that it's on base, the possibilities are endless of what can be done there. I'm still passionate about seeing people take on new approaches with what can be done with this network, because there's just an unbelievable amount that can be done. For people who haven't checked out insight.pkt.live, that's the website. It was built by a community member. One of the highlights of this transition over to base, just an unbelievable amount of great tools, features, visualizations around the network. One of the things we've been talking about for literally years, and finally have a node map where you can see where the nodes are around the world. Looks like there's nodes in 35 countries. Here, let me actually bring it up, because it's quite cool to look at this viewpoint and see everything that's out there. Here, let me bring this up. Here we go. Share my screen here. So this is insight.pkt.live, a website built on the Packet network, and you can see just a lot of the heads-up display information around lockbox registrations, CJDNS registrations, domain registrations, active CJDNS nodes. We've actually been seeing CJDNS nodes going down a little bit recently. You can see a little drop here over the last month. If we look over the last 3 months, you can see that it kind of peaked right in this kind of like February area. What's that?
What's that? The first of the month where it dropped?
Yeah, like right around
people
right
stop
around the first of the month, we've seen a bunch of drop off. Yeah, and that coincides with this, market capitulation that happened. So what I think happened is, with the price drop in Ethereum, you could stake a lot more Packet to a single CJDNS node. So I think people were able to consolidate a lot of CJDNS nodes and drop some, monthly subscriptions to run CJDNS nodes by consolidating their Packet yield credits onto less nodes, basically, is what I think was happening there. So still quite
those nodes are useful, though. I mean, that's entry points to the network, and if you just start up CJDNS like without any specific configuration, it'll connect to those nodes to use them to access the network.
Yeah, and so here's a view on the map that shows where the nodes are around the world, and node in South Africa, node in South America, a few nodes in South America. quite a bit of nodes popping up in Southeast Asia. And what you notice, and then obviously a lot of consolidation both in the United States and in Europe, but well across Europe. I mean, and there's some also nodes popping up in Russia, which is interesting. Node popped up in Iceland, and one of the things that is a little bit different than like helium, for instance, with this node map. And I actually spent a lot of time digging in here because if you are a node operator, if you find a data center that has no other nodes in it, then you get the 200% bonus. And what you'll notice is that these nodes, where they are in the world, are around data centers. So, while you look in, like, let's just say like Spain, what you'll see is just, hey, there's one node in Spain, but actually, what we find out is that, let me go like this. Oops. What you find out when you look at it is that there's actually, this is a data center in Madrid right here, and that's like, I think I even looked for some. You could probably find some other places, but this is particularly one. This node number 60 right here is sitting here, in this particular region. What is this called? Alcobendas of Spain. So that's just where the data center is. So that one node would basically service this whole region. You see another one right here in Lisbon. You zoom in right here. There's just one node in Lisbon here. So those nodes would be receiving the 200% bonus. Same thing. Got our node in Tel Aviv, one node in Israel here. So it's quite cool. A lot of times these nodes are a little bit more expensive to run. They can be somewhere between like $3 and $4 a month. 40 bucks a year is, on the higher end of what these nodes end up costing. You can pay obviously a lot more, but there's quite a lot of nodes that you can run for $1 to $3 a month. So pretty low cost, and the lower cost ones you'll end up finding them in data centers where other people are located. So you'll end up getting, like, for instance, there's a lot of nodes in Frankfurt. You click up here, you'll see that these are right
Those
here.
locations are probably not accurate. There's a good chance they're all in the same data center, but there's just slight inaccuracy of the what's it called, geo IP, because geo IP, it's just like ISPs are just kind of just filling in the information about where a particular IP address is, and it's all kind of honor system with ISPs.
Yeah,
so.
in terms of like the actual like street that it's on, I guess you would say. But what I have found to be relatively accurate, that if you're looking at a node, and this is actually interesting. So a lot of data centers or a lot of businesses will run their business out of a data center. And so you'll see like 10 businesses that are all using the same data center, but different business names. And so what I've seen is like, and here, one thing that you can do is if you are running some infrastructure, you can come here onto insight.pkt.live and you can click infrastructure. Click network, and you can get the ASN specifically for the data center. You can usually request it. You can send it a message. And sometimes when you're, in the dashboard of the ISP that you're looking to set up a node, or the data center that you're looking to set up a node in or pay before you pay them, sometimes they'll provide you with the IP block number in advance, and you can type that IP in here. And if you do so, it will show you if there are other nodes on that IP block. And if there aren't, and it doesn't always work 100% of the time, but if there aren't, generally speaking, once you have that node, then you'll get the 200% bonus. If there are other nodes on that IP block, then you'll end up with somewhere between 100 and 150, depending on how many. So if like you're on a service like Ionis, where there's probably closer to like a dozen people who went and got those 99-cent nodes, then you're going to get a worse bonus because that's kind of the lazy man's ISP. Same thing for some of these other places, like Hetzner, or what's the place that you love, Caleb? You do a lot of business.
OVH.
OVH things.
Yeah,
those places have a lot of
well,
nodes on them.
The thing with OVH, Hetzner, it's all in this one place. No, they have like 3 in Germany and Finland. OVH has places around the world. What I think is going to really hit you on OVH is when you use their really, really cheap VPSs, because I think they just kind of have like one IP block for the cheap VPSs. And so you're just going to get put right next to the next guy who bought a $1 VPS on OVH. Right. But if you have like a dedicated box on OVH, I think it's not quite so bad. And you can choose your country. So that's an interesting map. It just shows who's connected to who. And that is messy because the connections between CDNS nodes right now are random. And that's something I'd like to fix to make it so that it will detect better latency, better speed of light distance between 2 nodes, and then use that to make decisions about which nodes should be connected with which in order to make the whole network behave a bit faster. But that's a bunch of fairly complex logic that needs to happen in the route server, which is the one that recommends who should connect to who. So that map should end up looking a little bit more like the global fiber map, where all the Americans are connected to Americans, all the Europeans are connected to Europeans. There's a few connections in between them, and then there's sort of branches off of that.
Well, that would be cool. So where does this, in terms of all these lines and the connections here, how is this derived to be able to present on this map?
I think he's just getting the list of for each node who they're connected to. I mean, the route server knows that, so you can just ask the route server and it will tell you. So good chance he's asking the route server. And then just he's put the nodes on a map because based on IP address, and then from that you've got the map, you've got the locations, and then you just draw lines between them.
Got it. Well, it's a great look, and it's tremendous to see this global network that's here. And sometimes it's hard to visualize everything that's been built, and this just provided a great visual tool to see everything that is happening here. So very, very cool stuff. If you haven't gone and poked around on this website, highly recommend it. Just a tremendous amount of data, and it provides a great view into the network for sure. The other thing that this provides a view into is everything happening on the domain side. There's 345 registered subdomains, and we're starting to see all these in green are websites that are actually live, packet websites that are actually live on the network. And what's also been really nice to see, there's a couple websites that we've begun to see pop up that people are actually using to run their business. So I'll give you an example. This one, Mandaza, right here. This is a spiritual healer out of Africa, unbelievable human being. Josh and I actually flew out to Zimbabwe to visit him earlier this year. It's really amazing work that this guy does in the world. Guy is located off the beaten track, very, very, very rural kind of lifestyle. It's puts life in perspective when you get into the third world like that. But Josh helped him set up his website, so mandaza.pkt.now. And if you go to the site, which I will just pop over there right now, might as well, here's his website. The guy's running his business right off of a Packet website. And what's cool about that, again, for someone in South Africa that doesn't have a lot of money and, you know, isn't really going to have the ability to, you know, pay for the services that you would need and the technical knowledge that you would need to build out, you know, an
It
email or pay
doesn't need
Wix, and just bang,
it
just gets
doesn't
it.
need a $29 a year little hole in his pocket that
That's it.
is
Yeah.
basically for nothing. You know, it's like if I mean, even if you have a lot of money, that's still stupid to just pay like $29 a year just because somebody thought that you should pay $29 a year. It's really frustrating.
It's really frustrating. And so for someone like this is just it's just an unbelievable tool to see people starting to make this decision. It's like, hey, we can get a Packet domain and I can run a website for free for the rest of my life. It's like, let's just go.
Honestly, I'm like, I literally have, I mean, I've been lugging around domains for decades, and I just started, you know, discontinuing the renewal that's coming for all of them, because it's like, why do I need them? It's not like they're bringing me some like crazy SEO by like having this, you know, domain. And so being able to move some, like I have a nonprofit that I moved that nonprofit over to a Packet domain. It's like, why not? And being able to even have my personal domain, I mean, just being able to have josh.pkt.net, like that's just dope. And so I actually have I've been carrying around, you know, joshburger.net forever. And so being able to have that point to josh.pkt.net is just great. And so this is kind of like the future continuation of, like, as I start businesses, as I grow, do different endeavors, to be able to use this domain system. It makes it really easy and cheap because you can host it all in the same host, and domains are, so you're just paying for a host where you can have multiple things hosted, and then just pointing whatever free domains you need at that host.
Echonet Linux is a wiki I set up yesterday, and
this one right here,
Echonet, yeah, it's echonetllinux.pkt.wiki, and it's Linux for what is it? Oh no, that's web. Okay, it's Linux for a new kind of, well, not new, but a type of processor that's not currently supported by Linux. So,
well, I clicked on this right here, but it went to, oh, here we go.
There it is. It's a 1 day old wiki.
Got it.
But that was pretty convenient to set up. Took all of about an hour and a half.
Pretty cool. Little ChatGPT front end here.
No. That's actually wiki.js.
Okay.
Just installed it by the instructions, and you know me, I don't do front end, but that's what comes in the box.
That's good. It's one of your better ones.
It's not me, so that's why it's good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'd love to see the community start to set up some websites here. You know, clearly not a ton, but I'll click through. Let's check this one. I haven't looked at this site. There we go.
That's Neil. That's one of the original network steward guys.
That's awesome. Yeah,
yep.
just
he's still hanging around, and he's a maintainer of Yggdrasil, which is the kind of a rewrite of the concept of the CJDNS. I would say, yeah, it's a conceptual recreation of CJDNS. It's not a fork; it's definitely rewritten from scratch. But it just took a lot of the ideas and then re-implemented it. And their focus is on doing the, what's it called? Their focus is on the the routing, decentralized routing engine being done really well. So they did a really good job on the decentralized routing, whereas we just kind of went to the route server model, which makes the routing delegated to somebody who's supposed to know what they're doing. But yeah, Yggdrasil is the other CJDNS, so to speak. It's got some benefits and some limitations versus CJDNS, but it's nice to have both projects out there.
Yeah, no, it's tremendous to see, and I yeah, it's extremely encouraging to start to see some of these sites popping up again to the community. If you haven't set one up, get after it. Here we go.
Little update on CJDNS. I was able to add to the CJDNS tool utility the ability to send a ping to a CJDNS node using the inter-router communication, and also to send to do route lookups. So those two features have been added to CJDNS tool. I'm not sure if they're in. I think they are, but I'm not 100% sure if they're in CJDNS.sh right now. So, but anyway, those features are now available, and I'll probably do trace route fairly soon to be able to trace a path through the network. But these things are, I mean, if you're into networking, then ping is pretty important. But if you're not, then you don't really care. You just want it to work. But this is an important milestone of having this feature be exposed to the user, because it'll make diagnosis and debugging a lot easier in the CJDNS network.
Nice. And that was something else that you just recently been working on?
Yeah, I feel like I started about a week ago, and it turned out that there was a lot of stuff that was aged in the CJDNS and the CJDNS libraries, and I just really had to go through and clean things up in order to get that feature rolled out. But I think what motivated me to do it was I lost communication to one of my CJDNS nodes. And I was like, what the heck is going on? I wish I could just ping it and find out. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna implement ping, that you can just do it. Obviously, there is ping internally, but that doesn't do you much good when you're trying to diagnose an issue. And I actually found an issue as I was developing this, where the route server was responding to requests with empty responses, and the reason it was doing it was because, and this is a little bit of CJDNS lore, but the way the route server works is there's a CJDNS node on the machine of the route server, and that's what you're talking to. And that CJDNS node, when you send it a request, the route server process sees it forwards the request to the route server process. The route server process responds, and then it responds. Well, the problem was that CJDNS node was responding to that request with a kind of default catch-all response, which was there in order to be able to just always respond, even if you don't know what the request is, to just say I'm here. But that type of request, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to wait for the route server to respond. So what was happening was creating a race condition, and sometimes you'd get the route server response first, and sometimes you'd get the CJDNS response first. And so I fixed that, and that should help make the network a little bit more robust. And I've also I see that CJDNS should be polling the route server more often than it is. So that's another thing I intend to take a look at in the near to medium future. And then obviously the next big thing, but also kind of scary thing, is making the whole VPN system work. And I say it's a bit scary because it's it's such a big project. There's so many moving parts to it, and so little things like implementing ping and route lookup are very important to making a project like that into something that can be tackled realistically. So I think we're on the right track to being able to break that project down and start implementing parts of it and getting it rolled out. It's big though because it implicates bandwidth leases. The route server needs to be able to tell the CJDNS nodes, you should connect to this VPN exit, and tell the VPN exit, you should allow this CJDNS node to connect to you. It's just lots of moving parts there, and that's why it's taken a little bit of time for that to roll out. Whereas we kind of sat on and enjoyed our domains for a while here, but that's definitely going to be one of the next frontiers, at least on the CJDNS side.
Yeah, and what about VPN? Because I know VPN was also a part of.
No, that's it.
Yeah, that is that.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
there was someone in the
frontier's VPN.
well, there was someone in the community who was poking around asking about VPN. And I told them to go check out Anodium. But in terms of what's there and what Rowdy was using in terms of VPN versus where you want to see it going, and ultimately where you want to see it being, another option for people to be able to run VPN and and be able to essentially stake to earn into the VPN category.
Yeah, the way Anodium and all that stuff works is it's all the same concept, but it's all just implemented using kind of a pile of script. And where we need that to be is in CJDNS proper, with the route server coordinating it using somewhat standardized protocols. I mean, we can't just make up HTTP requests as we go. It has to be thought through a little bit, and it has to be done in a way that we're willing to live with for a long time. And so that's what makes it all quite hard, is that we have to redo what Anodium was, but doing it all correctly, quote unquote.
Got it.
And of course, also, where we want to be is we want to be doing bandwidth leases. So that adds another element to it. I mean, we can do bandwidth leases with a smart contract. That's easy peasy. But then making the CJDNS node honor the bandwidth leases, that's development. There's something there. And making the route server able to tell the CJDNS node where the bandwidth leases are, and then obviously we need to do kind of bandwidth traffic shaping to make sure that everybody gets the right amount of bandwidth, and it just ends up being complex.
Yeah. And then also you have the free tier and the paid tier too, right?
Free tier is easy. Free tier is easy. You just put a hardwire a bandwidth lease, and then everybody else takes from it. The hard part is making all the other tiers other than the free tier, making the fast tier.
Yeah, indeed. Well, another thing that I'm not sure if a lot of people know, but there was an update to the white paper as well. And I was just looking.
It's updated on the website.
Yeah. So if you do go to the website, here, I'll actually throw it up here real quick. Let's share window. And if you pop over onto the website, I believe it's under, let me just see right here. Come over to develop and click on white paper.
What's the yellow paper?
Say it again.
What's the yellow paper?
The yellow paper, I believe it's a little packet crypt paper.
Oh, I guess that should be kicked off that site since.
That's really,
it's not really relevant.
Yeah, it's not really relevant.
What I'll do, I'll just forward that link to go to the white paper, and then
Yeah,
we can
for the
clean
time
up the
being.
website after.
Yeah, indeed. There's definitely some cleanup that's still due on this website. But if you do pop over and want to check out the update, Caleb made a polish here that really focuses in on the,
What we're actually
specific,
doing.
yeah, the specific implementation under the base uh, token and the switch over here. And really, what's cool is in the making this update to the white paper, there was not a lot of change from the original white paper. There's certainly some changes that frankly optimized tremendously. There was a lot of like projected ideas that were presented in the original white paper, and they became more solidified.
Technologies that didn't pan out. And it wasn't
Right.
us. We were like,
Like
hey,
trimming.
Lightning Network is going to be huge. And it never happened.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, and we always called this isn't like a pivot, it's a technology upgrade,
Yeah,
and like
technology update and trim.
right. And when we started this thing, yeah, like you said, Caleb, like we bet on a few horses, and we also thought things would materialize, and we also didn't anticipate some things would materialize that did, like layer twos. And so, what has occurred with layer twos has enabled microtransactions to be feasible on a network like Ethereum, and that didn't exist 6 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Yeah, so it's a nice trim. It's a nice update. It's a nice polish. It focuses in on the things that are done and the things that are being done, and trims the ideas that were more exploratory, that didn't materialize, or ideas that just, we didn't know if we were going to go left or right in the future, and now we're pretty clear which direction that we're going. So yeah, those are all up there on the website now, and you should go check them out if you haven't read and caught up. Highly recommend it. So the train's still on the tracks, and it's always hard to work in a bearish period. But what I've found very rewarding recently is kind of working on the Packet project outside of the crypto community, and
working on utility, because
and
when you
focus
work on
on
a
the
utility, it's like you're just thinking about like delivering a feature that's going to help somebody, and you don't need to think about whether people are going to buy or sell some crypto.
Exactly. So we're not even like talking about the cryptocurrency, which sucks. I mean, it's always fun to see that price impact. But yeah, right now we're really just talking about the network use cases. And one of the big network use cases, again, domains is going to be the anchor point and where Packet TV goes. That's for dang sure. But I believe, first off, CDN is going to be the next frontier to make Packet TV happen. But the CGDNS network, Packet network, it's not a CDN network. That wasn't what it was designed for. But what I'm interested to see is some of these seeing some of the synergies that might be possible as we begin to see CDN become more of a anchor point for Packet TV, and seeing what kind of synergies will end up existing between CJDNS and the CDNs that will be required to provide, the low latency, high speed streaming capabilities of Packet TV. And we've been beginning having those discussions, starting to learn who the major CDN providers are for, the Netflixes, the offloading of Netflix needs, and providing people the service that when you're watching content on your phone, that it works flawlessly. We as the consumer have a high standard that we demand from the apps and websites that we visit, and it never crosses your mind what type of infrastructure is required to give you that snappy, immediate stream capability on your phone, for example. But as we veer into that world, it's there's a lot of complexity in how that's all achieved, and it's pretty exciting to see some of the, as Caleb said, this utility begin to emerge, and how we can utilize this network for this next chapter. And with that said, we've been powwowing here for an hour. Look, we're still in the chats daily. If you're not on the Telegram or in the Discord, you should pop in there and say hello, ask questions, check up on the white paper, stake to earn on the dashboard. Lot of really, really cool stuff coming up. In terms of on the marketing front, there's a bunch of press releases coming soon. We have a release that's going to come out, actually 2 releases that are going to come out in the next week. So excited to get those out. One of them's with Akash, who's obviously been a great network partner for many, many years now. But we have a press release that will be dropped about their inclusion on the Packet Hub. And we're starting to see more people starting to pop their brands onto the Packet Hub as well. So some cool growth stuff that's going to continue. In this year, it's going to be an absolute feast on these utility features and getting adoption. So that's where our focus is, and we've been working on it every day. So thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for participating, and thanks for popping in. Any closing words on your end, Caleb?
I'm fixing this this packet white paper, yellow paper. That's what it's called.
Oh yeah. All right, you can do that. I also plan to do a little polish on the docs. There's some updates that are required there. So just continue to refine some text and some information that was written like almost a year ago now, and just continuing to polish and keep everything current. Josh, any closing words on your end?
Yeah, just go claim a domain, set up a site, get in the game. Yeah, we're banging on this thing every single day, staying strong, and regardless of the market conditions, this project continues to thrive and grow, and we're building the world we want to see with it. So I'm excited for the community to be part of it, and this next chapter of Packet and Packet TV. Really fired up on Packet TV.
Yeah, I'm super fired up.
Cool, boys. Always a pleasure, and see you same time, same place
next week, and
next week.
catch you guys in the chats.
Have a good one.
All right, take care.